Good morning. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Executive Insights.
The most unedited version of a podcast for young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs just starting out.
All right. I'm the CEO of FaceTime and the founder of FaceTime Foundation, Gervais Nelson, alongside my amazing co-hosts.
I am Marie Rose, CEO of Rosebud Studios and founder and president of Rose Petals to Success.
All right. I want to introduce or maybe you can do us the pleasure of introducing our amazing guest and allow her to take it from there.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do justice by explaining who we have today, but I will say Salon in a Box is the top beauty supply delivery company in the tri-state area because I just saw her on Instagram delivering in New York, y'all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself and tell us about your business.
That sounds really good. I have a beauty delivery service that travels over 150 zip codes between the Philadelphia area, the outside surrounding Delaware and New Jersey, and then it goes into second day, next day as it spreads out. And that's how I was able to go to New York because they was like, when you coming to Brooklyn? I said, I'll be there this weekend.
This week we have 3 insightful questions. Marie, please tell everyone what they are.
Okay, so number 1, what inexpensive business experiment did you run to test the business market? Question 2, in your first 6 months post-launch, what was your single biggest pivot? And how did you know it was time to change? And question 3, all right, as you've scaled past the startup phase, how have you balanced investing in innovation versus optimizing existing revenue streams? And what framework guides those trade-offs?
That is wordy, but
yes.
That's a good question now.
And please remember, everything we're about to say is general information from our personal experiences. Even though you can apply the information to your business, we ask that you please schedule a one-on-one with either me, Gervais, or Kavina, so that we can apply the information directly to your business because what works for us may not work for you.
All right, with that said, we're going to drop some executive insight on you. Question 1, this is for our aspiring entrepreneurs. Thinking about starting a business, not really sure, but you want to get involved. The question is, what inexpensive business experiment did you run to test the business market? Any takers?
So, inexpensive for me is social media, right? Because that doesn't cost anything for me to make a post on free Canva, post it to social media, and see if the people like it, see if it brings sales in. Facebook Marketplace, the same thing. See if they like it, change up the wording, change up the colors, and see if it attracts my clientele.
For me, in the beginning, I didn't do anything. I just kind of just wilded out with it and I just went for it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know really what a target market really was or how to really gain the attention of them. I was just putting out the work on social media. I didn't really have like a real thought process that went to it. Like now I'm a lot better at it. I understand what hits, what doesn't hit. But I was just putting the work out and I was just putting out, and I saw what people were liking. What were they engaging with? And then I had to understand for me, all right, the likes are good, but who's actually buying because of it? So that's what switched. That's what switched my target. Like when I first did it, it was about putting out the content. And people was like, oh man, that's amazing, that's like it, that's cool, it's cool, I like that. And they would just like it. But then I put out another type of work, and then I realized people was hitting my inbox up like, yo, I want that.
Yeah.
Make my product, make my land look like that, make my landscape look like that. Oh, can you do that to my house? How much is that? And then I was like, oh, so this is what people want as far as money. So that's when you kind of got to make a choice inexpensively to say, do I want likes or do I want money? And that's when you just got to make a choice.
Well. $50. 2014, that wintertime, I ran up on a wholesale. And I was a person that did hair, so I was in Virginia. I tried to like get like some type of deals, but I didn't know how the whole beauty thing worked. But I ran into a wholesale when I got here, and I was doing TSS. So you know the checks are sporadic, and you get a few of them, but you know you gotta do something with them. I had to pay bills, so I ran in there. I'm like, oh, I only ran in the first one: combs, brushes, and stuff like that. At first I said, I'm like, dang, I have to do something in Philly because I had just moved here in 2013. And okay, I like to work a job, but I don't like to work a job. And then I got to another wholesale, but it was a little bit more expensive. So I had to save up a couple more coins, and I got a whole lot of stuff. I'll be thinking about what I need to get for them, and I'll go to the same route, Wednesday through Saturday.
All right, this is for our new business owners. 0 to 3 years in the business, just got your EIN number, you're excited, things are still fresh, you're still learning, still growing, and we're going to give you some game on how you can potentially grow beyond that. In your first 6 months post-launch, what was your single best pivot, and how did you know it was time to change? I said, all right, this one I can all right, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
For me, FaceTime in the beginning, I always say the same thing. It's like, it's not FaceTime landscaping, it's FaceTime, which is a platform. When I first did it, it was a service platform. So everything that I did in the beginning was the furniture assembly, it was the fashion designing, it was the art, it was the landscape, it was traveling, it was all the things that I love to do. It was like an Amazon Service Center platform. All those things, people love the way I travel. People like the things I do and the places I go, but they were like, they didn't want to pay for the itinerary service. They were just like, yo, where's that? Or if I tag it on the post, they'd be like, oh, I'm going there, thanks. And it was like, well, I can hook up your whole night and I can tell you like wherever you want to go in that area. But it was like, nah, so that wasn't really doing nothing. Everything just kind of like slashed off, but in the background was this landscape that just kept making money. It just kept coming in, it just kept the phone ringing. Assembly was doing pretty good too, but landscape was definitely doing it. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna stop fighting it. I'm gonna just go for what people's telling me they want. I'm gonna come back around to these other things, and that's how I got into the Moss Wall and the Mars art and the teaching the classes and the, all those different things. But I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna focus everything over here, and that was my pivot. My pivot went from trying to push these things to understanding what was selling.
Yeah.
It's hard pivot this way, and it just became FaceTime landscaping type of deal, and I just pushed it real hard.
So because people in the beginning, they don't understand your whole vision. So you have to introduce the piece that they're familiar with, and then
Whatever
start to bring in your other piece that makes you unique, right? So with me, my business actually started with event spaces. So, and that's what I'm known for. Getting people to know me for Rosebud is really hard because only the people that met me through Rosebud know me for Rosebud. Everybody else knows me for my event spaces. And how I started was just when this 1,100 square foot storage unit that they sold to me as event space, but really it was a storage unit. And I lost it after the first 4 months. But in that 4 months, and I talked about this before, I lost it in 4 months, nobody knew, and I put a 2.0 in 60 days. And had another one that opened for 3 years, and I kept expanding from there. But my pivot, when I first started, I was like looking at all these event spaces, and my thing was exactly what we both struggle with is I hate looking like everybody else. I was like, I have to look different. So I built a contract with somebody and I brought in uplighting. And so now I had party lights, uplighting included in my package. And I realized that the more I included the words in my packages, and I kept I was already doing this stuff, but the more I wrote the package out and still wrote my price, the people loved it because they felt like they was getting so much more. But really, I was already doing it.
Okay, so I know I'm telling my story, but from y'all's and it intertwines with mine. I see creativity mixed with something that you didn't know could be stability.
Right.
I could never be like I used to be an artist. I been to the Grammys. I song wrote for people that, and you said you draw and all this stuff. That's that side of me I love, but without the stability, I can't hang. I'd rather be unknown nothing than and have a car and a place to live and building a business. But it was by mistake.
Always.
All right. The pivot for me is like during 2014 to 2019, I sold beauty supplies the way I sold it. I'll have a car. If I didn't have a car, I'd be on a train with a suitcase, dropping it off. Got me a little $2,500 hoopty. And I took that money and pre-ordered with my money. I didn't ask them and say, I didn't feel like I was worthy to people to trust me with their money. Even though I know I'm not going to do nothing with it. So I was used to taking 1,000 and making something happen. So that was it. I got there, I was like, damn it. But then the money came right back, and the next day I made 25, and the next day I made 35, and the next day I'm making 4,500 a day. I'm putting 15 and 2,500 like it's nothing.
You took the risk on yourself.
I was gonna say that's
That's a story, and you know, as you talking about it, I'm seeing it like visually, like in a movie, and I feel like I've seen it somewhere, but I can't see it, and I'm probably just seeing your story.
Yeah.
But it's just the way, even the way you say it and tell it, I can visualize it. I'm like, yo,
I'm seeing it on the side of the road.
Yeah, I'm like,
I would go behind the wholesale and be unboxing stuff. All right, they want this order, get this bag up. All right, this in that section, in that section. I'm putting Amazon trucks together. So then, when I first started out, I would just throw it out the window, no bags. And I realized I need to go buy a case of bags. So I didn't have no logos. I'm not into none of that. I'm still not into none of that. I'm just about getting it done because it made me emotional. Because I never talk be able to talk about it like this. And
I'm glad you're here. That's what it's about.
I know.
That's why I was like, I would love to be because I don't know what could bring out of this story, but that's
But somebody is gonna see it. You see, I choked, right? Because somebody is gonna see it and hear it, and they're gonna be like, yo, she did what? She did this by just taking a risk, and she didn't have to have a flashy car. She didn't have to have a bunch of money to get started.
Nobody
she
cared
just
about
took her orders
Supply
as
and
they
demand.
came.
Don't worry about it. I got it. All right. Question number 3. This is for the established business owners looking to scale up, looking for longevity. That's why I said it worked perfect. As you scale past the startup phase, how have you balanced investing and innovative versus optimizing existing revenue streams? And what framework guides those trade-offs? At first, I was trying to invest everything. I was trying to invest and buy new product. I was trying to buy new equipment. I was trying to buy the latest truck. I was trying to buy all the latest equipment. So in the beginning, I was trying to reinvest all the money back into the company. Now where I am, the company is fine. The framework is fine. Everything is stable. I don't have to reinvent the wheel anymore. So now it's all about bringing in the revenue that looks good for the bank so that I can invest into other properties, other different streams that can bring in more passive income. So I've learned that, and I'm talking like the last 2 years, where it was like, your company's good, everything's great, stay ahead of the curve, but what else can you do with this money to make it actually work for you?
And the reason being is because I just kept pouring all of my money back into business, and I didn't understand. I just knew I can't let people see me at my weakest point, so I'm gonna just keep elevating. If I lose it, I'm gonna double it. If I lose it, I'm gonna triple it.
Always win.
And so,
Yeah, always.
so I've done that since 2019. I've just kept flipping bigger and bigger. Even when I fail, I gotta work harder to make it look triple. And so it wasn't until this last year when I started to give back more. And when I started to give back more and pour into the businesses and not gatekeep and not keep everything to myself, take off the blinders, because that's how I started my business. Was I don't want to see no other business like mine. I just want to see my vision, because I don't want them to say, because at this point it was everybody was influenced, saying you were influenced by me, or you if you don't post it, you didn't do it first, so for me, I just was like, you know what, take these blinders off and pour into business owners. Everybody has the same story, just different versions of it. So it wasn't until I started doing that I realized the rooms that I'm in, these people not checking my bank account. They're not checking my revenue. They bringing me in based on what they see me do in my community, what they see me do for other business owners. That's what the credibility that you need. That's the reputation you need, and that takes you places. Not necessarily the money.
To line in the box sped my personal life up 10 to 15 years because I was behind. According to the average, to the status quo of the culture, the age group that I'm in. Focus, because you need to focus on your books.
Yeah.
You need to know every customer. You need to know every order that came in, what day, how many orders you had that day. You need to structure your books all the way down to the penny. You need to know everything. You need to know what products you brought in. You need to know your invoices. You need to do an average. You have all this information. You need to solve it. So I said, all right, so let me just have a plan for each week. When I go in the office, this is what I have to do because I have work. To do, and I realized it was work outside of doing deliveries. So when I started doing that, it started creeping up because I didn't have to even.
So this is like singing to him because
that's my thing.
His numbers and making sure.
I'm in love with numbers. I've been like that since a kid. Before we had technology like we got now, I would create my own. like situation. Like anyway. So the numbers start creeping up. So I'll do inventory, and because I looked at that product, now somebody bought it today. And I looked at the customer and they ain't called, and I'm like, I thought about them. And then they're calling. So then it just like speed it up. You gotta keep being more meticulous, more efficient. So when I did that, then the year that it rose up. And then the year later, I'm like, I have a baby on the way. I don't have a job plan. I'm not going back to work. I'm not gonna have no days off. I still have to work. I still need money. What am I gonna do? And I need my income to go up because I have a child now. Like, that was okay for me, but we need to, and then have some, because I'm not gonna, it might be 6 months, it might be a year, it might be 2 years. I have to be with my child. Like, no daycare, no none of that. Like, me and my child doing what we do. So I bought products. I infused the business, 15, 20,000 in that little basement. But it's a flow. So every day it comes in, I always have to keep ringing up every day. So I said, I can't leave the house. I have to strictly go off on these deliveries. I can't just go and say, I'm gonna get a pack of Shine and Jam because I ran out and I need this for this order. I need all this sitting here. So I need to, I can't be sitting on 12, I need 24. I need 36 of everything. And then the little stuff that comes that's cheap that's in 12, I need 100. So I did that. Revenue doubled off of the piggyback off the other one. So now I'm stuck at a new one. I always had the same amount of customers in the same average, and just keeps going. People don't have to ever come see me ever again. 3 people adds back in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's infusing the business, getting the books right. But now that I'm not on an everyday chase, even though I know every day I wake up because I have nothing else to do but take care of a child and sit in the house, I'm going to do orders every day. So every day I know I have orders. So now I'm thinking about the bigger picture. What is Silent Salon in the Box in the community? Who am I to this business, and what can I do to change anything? What's the bigger mission? It's beauty deliveries and creating jobs, and I created my business plan finally and I finally went and got the S Corp and I used y'all virtual address.
Yes,
I stepped out on faith, got me some business accounts, flooding business accounts instead of being 10,000 sitting right. Y'all walk around with 10, 20,000 on me in a fake purse from China. And I loved it, fake Chanel. I say it on the podcast, but Chanel's supposed to hold $20,000 and $30,000. You know, but now, but I got that money and didn't never want to buy that stuff.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
That's how
it's like the more
not right now.
Because you work so hard for it.
It's not work too damn hard. Yeah, but in Saks Fifth, it was like this, them Swarovski boots. I ain't got nowhere to wear it to. Bye. You know, so like that's the pivot. But now it's always another pivot. So now it's like me and my integrity, like what y'all was saying, who I am as a person. Now that I got the business thing and I understand how that go, now I'm ready to get into my other parts of creativity to loop into the business so people can see who I am. Because I'm Salon in the Box because I like that hustle and it's working for me. But I'm a fashion designer. I'm a makeup artist. I sing. You know what I mean? Like, I do other stuff. So I'm gonna use that pipeline to go into that, but it all be
Yeah, that's beautiful for you to, like, you just have to get the foundation part right. Once all of us had our foundation part, now we can just really do whatever we want.
That's how I feel.
We really do. This is how we came together. We always laugh about, he asked the question anytime we're in a room, how long have we known each other? And people are like, oh my gosh, 10 years, 15 years. And we're like, no, about 1. So, and it's like, we are now at a place in business where this podcast is now a time for us to just share what other business owners, share what we have been holding on to, our experiences with everybody, and just showing them that it's not a hard reach. It really is right here. And if you want to just come on our podcast, we'll tell you our story. If you want to come to tea with Marie Rose,
I was like, Dad, can I bring my child with me to go to
absolutely.
tea?
So, and that's,
Chai tea, I love chai tea.
yeah, but that's how we are. Like, everything is so, we make it so that people can see that this is normal.
Yeah.
Our lives are very much into everything that we do.
Right.
His son is our producer for this podcast.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like we really have our families incorporated. So when you said your life is your business and your money, we are basically incorporating all of that because our businesses, sometimes people don't see our business, they see us. We are our brands. And they love to see, what does a CEO look like? And we walk in and be like, this is what a CEO look like. Not that other image they've been showing you forever.
The suit with the briefcase and all that.
No.
I'm not gonna hold you though, because I know that I'm elevating. I like photo shoots. I'm into like creating stories. Like, say that's my next thing. Really, taking a stylist, taking a business and creating a story from the photography, from the graphics, from the whole thing. But I want to do the suit thing in the back of the limousine in the office.
Go ahead.
You know what I mean? Like, you know.
But that's still an image. You know that, right?
It's just the image. You know.
Because when you step out of that and you go, they see your Instagram and they see you delivering your stuff.
You're looking a crazy
in
mess.
Your road. But then she was in the limo. That's showing the both sides of a CEO. You know, so that's beautiful.
I'll say, 'cause my headshot, I have a suit jacket on.
I've never been into that. I'm like real like.
But some people require that because if they got a professional flyer, they're gonna want to see that professional image of you. But then when you show up and you look exactly like you, then they're like, okay, and the people gonna love it because they're like, oh, he not or she not with that picture. So I love showing this like
All right.
You wanna go straight?
Bonus question is entrepreneurship highs and lows. This one's pretty straightforward. What daily habit outside of work do you credit with most keeping you resilient through the seasons of business? And that's pretty like, what hobbies do you have, or what do you do to keep you level-headed outside of work? I think this is a great question for a reason of, it kind of hit on what you were just saying. So often when and I want to say, because I want your answers to be like, really think about it for a second. So often our work becomes our family. It becomes every day. It becomes my son's photography. It becomes every day, every moment, 3 a.m. when I wake up, that idea, when I pick my phone up, my social media, it's all work. What do I do outside of work that kind of makes me feel like I'm Joe? Not FaceTime right now.
And every time you say it's Joe, every time you say Joe,
I'm not a husband. Exactly. Like, who's Joe? You don't know because my brand exceeded my name.
Yes.
So it's like, it's not my kids right now. I'm an empty nester right now. So what do I like to do? So for me, I had to rediscover myself, honestly, because entrepreneurship for the last 7 years was all I was doing. Head down, locked in, focused. I got to grow my brand. I got to get my money. I got to build my clientele. I gotta get ready for tax season. I gotta be prepared for this. I gotta get my employees together. It was constant new idea. Pitch the idea, go to a meeting, go here. The thing for me that it becomes a hassle. It becomes a stress in your chest. It wakes you up at night. I'm not built like that no more. I'm past that. I'm not built like that no more. What I had to find out for me was I enjoy hiking. I like being one with nature. I like taking walks. And even recently, I started taking pictures again to bring back that creative art side. Not selling nothing, not trying to do nothing. Just me using my creative eye to take pictures and just like, damn, that's my work. So those are my things that I do outside of anybody and everybody else because it's really simple just to get up and take a walk. I love going to a park and I just drive down Kelly Drive, pull over and just start walking in the hills.
That's how my husband
like on just some random
with his dog.
hike. Like I'll just hike and I'll just see squirrels and see trees and I'll see colors and I'm like, all right, that's dope. I'll keep that color palette in my head for later. But I'm gonna enjoy this walk. But the pictures and all that, that's me. That's what I do now for my hobby. To outside of work.
So mine is very simple, but like it also is a recent discovery because before my business was everything. If it's not my business, it's my kids. I'm very big on that, but I left me out of it. So recently it became me because I feel like they're a little bit more independent now. So I can say go here and let me be here. So I love recently, and this is the past 2 weeks, was yoga and Pilates, and I do it at 5 a.m. And it's hot yoga and Pilates because that's something I watched this girl do for over a year. She records and vlogs it, and I will watch and be like, she's crazy as heck. But I'll be seeing like
put me
a
on to that,
puddle.
please.
Yes, it's at the Hot Room in South Philly, and it's a puddle of always on her mat, and I'm like, this girl is crazy. Well, I started it, and it is the most amazing feeling ever. And Jovace is my witness. I never start before 10 a.m.
I say it's not more.
So for me to be out my house by 4:30 in the morning, to get to, or out my house by 5 to get there by 5:30, is craziness, because I could not start before 10 a.m.
Wow.
And it is the most beautiful thing. Like, it just starts my day clear-minded. And so I love that. But I also, people don't believe that I binge watch Netflix. And I really do. Like, I take at least 2 to 3 times a week. I watch a season of something, and I don't get up. So I will sit there for like 5 hours, and nobody will hear from me. Nobody will see me. They probably don't know I'm missing. But I binge watch. So when people be like, oh, I want to watch this show, and I'm like, oh, I watched that. Because I don't watch the whole season or a couple seasons. And I don't see or hear anything about work, because I'm focused on my self-care, and I love watching Netflix. And before, it used to be just lighting candles and reading. But I found that when I read, I tend to read books that are business related. So I stopped that because it's not clearing my mind. So yoga, Pilates, and binge watching Netflix has been my go-to.
I'm curious to hear yours for a reason. I think I just picked up on a trend. It's that thing in me, but I think I just picked up on something. I'm very curious to hear yours.
I like to get myself together now.
That's different, but that's so good, because I don't have the patience or the time.
Only reason why, because I got really depressed after I was in a penthouse, when they got me a penthouse. Just to do, I just leased it for a certain amount of time, just to do creative things, see how I can work my products, do things with the background, for aesthetics. My wardrobe suffered. I went and got a wholesale thing from China with these clothes that came out in 2021, 22, and I was rocking them for years. I didn't spend, quarterly I'll buy something for the seasons, but I didn't care about that. But then I was like, 2025, I have a lot of things that had happened over the years, and I've seen things, and I have to act like what's inside of me with my self-esteem. My esteem has always been the way I'm working, so I don't care about that. Right. And then I realized that my parents call me Madam Vain. That's the name of my brand, and it's vibrant, assured, innovative, naturally. And I can't be a vain person with a makeup line and bundles, and I'm coming out not caring about myself. Yeah. At least just put the lashes on, and brush your hair and go out, because you're thankful, because you know where you were at, because you didn't, when you was tore up and your finances wasn't right, you had no business, you was getting right, you was finding it to get it right. Now that you are in a place of comfort and you're in a place of rest, start getting it together and find your new you. Who are you?
That's beautiful.
That's where I'm at now.
But I noticed anything that gives us peace and solidarity or some kind of relaxation is so not normal or weird or crazy or something like that. That was the one thing I realized. Like, who hikes from South Philly? There's no grass around here. South Philly, we got buildings and projects. So the first time I went was just like, that's not normal. Who gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning and does yoga? You know what I mean? That's not normal to most people. Yeah. But if you do it, it just takes you another place.
Yeah, it does.
So
gives you that energy.
That was dope. Really quickly, sorry, I lost my page. All right, closeouts. Any final words, shout outs, plugs? I do have one.
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you as you said, thankful, extremely thankful for everybody that supported FaceTime this year. Thank you for your support. I just got my magazine today, so I'm excited.
Yes.
FaceTime has, you can zoom in on this. Philadelphia Inquirer Philly Favorites, it's like page 60 or so. We won gold for best landscape company in Philadelphia. So
yes, that is huge.
That's very huge.
This took 6 years in the making to get here. So I don't really celebrate 2025. I celebrate 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, when chips were out, backs were against us, and we really were just out there forcing away and making it happen through. This made me appreciate what it took to get there.
Yeah.
So the award is just icing on the cake, but it made me rethink about the cake and enjoy the process.
It kind of makes me tear up.
So,
Yeah,
because you understand that you build from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy that you build from not having, like, and then all of a sudden it's being rewarded. That you didn't look for a reward. You just look for everyday to get. You were looking for everyday purpose.
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it was.
Yeah.
And you finally found that why. And when that why exceeded my desire to make money, business took over.
Yeah.
It wasn't about making money anymore.
Yeah.
That's why I said that switch happened in 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Up to that point was make money.
Yeah.
And then I said, made money, still not really happy. Like you said about the happiness, like you still not happy with the money. You realize you make this much money, you're gonna wanna make this much more.
Yeah.
You make this much more, you're gonna wanna triple that. And then it's like you're constantly chasing the rabbit, and it's like, you know what? I'm good. I wanna make other people around me better. I wanna make communities around me better. I wanna make people around me better. I wanna find that young man, that young woman that's out there who wants it, to introduce them to all the skill sets that it took me years to learn. And if I can save them 5 years in their journey, to get them in that magazine in 2 years, that's my goal. So,
I love that.
anything else? I'm sorry. I kind of ran with that one, but I was excited. This has been an exciting 24 hours for me. So
I do
I'm
want to
excited.
piggyback off what you said. It's all about money. It was not all about money. People be like, "Oh, you so busy. You just be moving." I said, "I'm only serving what comes to me."
Right.
Yep.
If I didn't have nothing coming to me, I wouldn't have nothing to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to go serve, so I'm joyfully serving. But at the time, you're like, you never really had, because remember, we're coming from something not really having. Else, we would already have it laid out.
Yeah.
And it'd be like here, and you had this is the position that you would play. But we're playing all positions, trying to figure out that one position that's for you.
Yeah.
Or is this even for you? Because even entrepreneurs, they'll sell their stuff off,
Yeah.
make money, and get to something that they really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's all.
And now we are giving our next generation the option to tell them that this is a position that you can play.
That right there is where I've been at for the last 3 weeks. Making the business plan for generational wealth, so that, because I'm already seeing that I'm gonna have to take care of my help with my daughter's kids. I'm gonna be there because my mom is here with me, so it's inevitable. So let me start creating something for them. And I've never in my life thought further than sometimes a month or two.
Beautiful.
All right. So we encourage you to drop your likes, drop your questions in the comments section. Feel free to join us every Sunday for a new episode of Executive Insights. Be sure to subscribe, stay inspired, keep creating.
See y'all.
All right.